Welcome to Connect Canyons, a podcast sponsored by Canyon School District. This is a show about what we teach, how we teach, and why. We get up close and personal with some of the people who make our schools great. Students, teachers, principals, parents, and more. We meet national experts too. Learning is about making connections. So connect with us.
Every community has a moment where, perhaps unnoticed at the time, the future is being shaped. A new voice steps forward, bringing the promise of possibility. Welcome to Connect Canyons. I'm your host, Francis Cook. Here at Canyon School District, we have a tradition of excellence in educational leadership. Since Canyon's inception in 2009, only 4 people have held the title of superintendent. During their time as the district's chief executive, they have cultivated the district's reputation and spearheaded CSD's mission to ensure every student graduates college and career ready. Now, we're ushering in a new era with the latest leader at the helm. Superintendent Dr. McKay Robinson was just appointed by the Canyons Board of Education. He joins us today. Dr. Robinson, thank you for joining us. You've been with the district since it began, and for the last 3 years, you have been our assistant superintendent. So we're a little familiar with you, but now as you step into this new role, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got your start working in education.
When I was in 3rd grade, my parents went through a divorce, and that led to me leaning heavily upon the teacher that I had at the time, and his name was Mr. Miner, and he was exceptional in every way. He became so much more than just a teacher. He became an advocate for me and a champion, if you will. Was always looking for ways to boost my confidence as well as give me the support that I needed. And it was truly when I was in 3rd grade that I vowed to be just like Mr. Miner one day. And that's where my journey toward education began. But I then soon left Barrett Elementary, moved to Orem, and went to Canyon View Junior High, then moved back to American Fork and attended American Fork High School. So I am a caveman at heart in so many different ways. Then shortly after my time at American Fork High School, I lived in South Korea for a couple of years and then returned. And then the journey truly began of starting to pursue an education degree. So I started at Snow College, which then led me to Utah State University, and I graduated. And Utah State University is a very special place, largely due to the fact that that's where I met my wife. And we've been married now for 26 years in June, so we're excited about that. Shortly after my time at Utah State, I became a 4th grade teacher here in Jordan/Canyons District, if you will. And I was a 4th grade teacher for several years there, and then left Sprucewood Elementary to go to Butterfield Canyon Elementary School in Harriman, Utah, when it first opened. I thought having the experience of opening a new school would be an exciting experience, and so took that opportunity. And then left Butterfield Canyon Elementary to attend BYU and earn my master's in educational leadership. And that was a really fun experience because I got to spend an entire year as an assistant principal in the middle schools, the high schools, and also in elementary school. And so it was kind of a fun experience to spend 3 months in each level. And then shortly after that, I was appointed the principal at Lone Peak Elementary School and loved everything about that. That's when we first started the dual immersion program. So it was a new journey that the whole district was embarking on that it was fun to be a part of from the very, very beginning. And I'm thrilled to see where the program is now today.
Yeah.
And then I decided to go back and earn my doctorate and decided to go to the University of Utah. So I have now graduated from 3 of the major universities in the state of Utah, which is kind of a fun thing to celebrate. And then I became the director of oh no, I forgot. I was the principal at Sandy Elementary for a short period of time as well. And I shouldn't forget that because the home of the Sharks is truly a great place. Yeah. It's a Title I school, and I loved everything about it and loved that community, and definitely holds a very special place in my heart. And then I became a director of elementary schools. And then shortly after that became the assistant superintendent. And now here we are. So that was a pretty lengthy story, but there you go. That's kind of my background and my history.
What is it about education that drove you? What made you say, that's what I want to do?
I think it largely had to do with just the relationship side of it. And what I mean by that is the fact that when I was going through a very, very difficult time, I had someone that showed that they cared.
Yeah.
Where I didn't feel like that may have, my world was kind of in a a moment of panic or chaos,
Yeah.
to say the least. And those relationships are huge. And our teachers don't always understand the impact that they can have.
Absolutely.
But when they do embrace that, it's amazing what can be accomplished. It's just something that drove me to want to give back what was so graciously given to me. And education, I feel, is something that empowers you to be able to create a future that is far better than I could have ever experienced had I not pursued education or becoming like Mr. Miner.
It's beautiful. I think you paint the perfect picture. Everyone has a teacher in
Absolutely.
at least one grade level that they remember, that had an impact on them. You know, some stay in touch and send their wedding invites. And
yeah, I can't imagine if anyone were to just sit back and think for just a moment, there's got to be at least one teacher that comes to mind. We've all had that experience, I think. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because that doesn't happen in all other areas of life.
And you don't have that opportunity, I think, as much as you do in a school.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's beautiful when the teachers kind of embrace that and see that if they can make that one change,
Absolutely.
you know, then that's made it all worth it.
We don't always know what our students are bringing
every
single day that they show up into our classrooms. And it's those simple moments of care and additional support that just can take it to a whole nother level and change the trajectory and or the direction of someone's life. And it certainly did mine.
Yeah. So you never know what a smile or a I believe in you can do.
Simple, very simple things, but it can go a long way.
I think that relationship is important at every level, but particularly at the elementary level, where children are still developing, they're discovering who they are. What is it about elementaries that made you start there?
Probably due to the fact that that's where it started for me. And it is such an important time for a child's life. I think about just reading alone and how reading itself impacts our lives every single day, and it impacts our learning in every other academic area. And being able to help a child learn how to read and or do a simple math equation and watch that light bulb turn on, or that moment of aha. Yeah, it's there's something so magical and powerful of those particular moments, if you will. And I'm not saying that they don't happen in the middle schools or the high schools, because they absolutely do. It's just so cool to see an elementary age child have that experience, and then it can truly direct their love for education in general.
Yeah.
There's so many things that it's foundational. And that's what I love about elementary, is that it truly provides a foundation that can then be built upon. And that's why I started there.
Yeah. I think the students see that too. We look at the nominations for our Teachers of the Year, and a lot of these students are saying, this particular teacher made me want to come to school. Or, you know, I saw one that their child didn't want winter recess because that meant they couldn't see their teacher.
Yep.
And that's a beautiful thing to see.
It really is. And honestly, I still have plenty of cards, plenty of pictures, plenty of invitations that come from former students, because it means so much. You establish these relationships that literally last a lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's just a powerful thing that it's really hard to put into words or to describe, but elementary is just awesome.
Well, you can tell you're still excited about it, which
I
is
do get excited.
good to see.
I'm just a little
No, I love it. So you've gone from managing a classroom of, say, 20, 30 kiddos to managing an entire school district. No pressure there.
None whatsoever.
It's no small task. You know, I would imagine you don't exactly get a day off. You're always on call. You're always ready to jump in at a moment's notice. So what do you do in those moments when you're not working?
That's a really great question, because things have shifted over the years.
Yeah.
But I love spending as much time as I possibly can with my family. They're everything to me. I love everything about them. But I'm so grateful that I have a wife that also loves being a part of the school theater productions, the sporting events, you know, to be able to still be present at the things that my job requires of me, while also being able to spend that time with the family. We love camping. We love traveling. I love exercising. That's probably one of the best ways that I can clear my mind or my head. And it's also the time where some of my best ideas come to me, is when I'm getting the blood flowing, if you will, and just trying to think about things. I love concerts. I love reading books. I love going to movies. There are a lot of things, and I try to keep a diverse selection, if you will, of options available to me, because sometimes things work and other times they don't. And it's important to just make sure that we have that work-life, balance. And that's important. And I hope that our employees will see that and feel that from me as well, that their mental health is very important to me as well, as it is to myself. And we're hopeful that we can create a culture where we understand that we have jobs and we will do our jobs to the best of our ability, but at the same time, our families are a top priority as well.
Yeah. Get outside, touch grass.
You bet.
Take care of yourself.
Nothing like the mountains, and
Right.
we live in a beautiful place for that.
We do. In your mind, what makes a good educator and what makes Canyon's educators in particular so special?
Well, I think we've kind of talked about what I feel like a good educator is and or can be, if you will.
That connection.
Yeah, it really does come down to the relationships. It comes down to those connections. I think you also have to have a love for the subject in which you're teaching.
Yeah.
Because that can speak volumes to a student. They can see that, they can sense it, they can feel it. And if you don't have that passion, I think it makes it a little bit more difficult for learning to take place, which then in turn makes it's important to make the learning fun.
Yeah.
And exciting and engaging, if you will.
They can tell if you're not having fun, then they're not going to have fun either.
Yep. We've all been there where we've tried to force our way through something and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I think education is constantly changing. And so I think a good educator is one who's adaptable and flexible and able to make changes on the fly, if you will. And then we talked a little bit as well about being a lifelong learner. I think that's important to continue to look for ways of enhancing our practice. And fortunately, here in Canyons, I honestly believe that would sum up who our teachers are and what they are. I'm always floored by the amazing quality of teachers that we have in our district. I was most recently up at Eastmont Middle School and we were...
Go Patriots?
Yeah, absolutely. We were up there for this AVID convention thing that was going on up there. And we had the opportunity to talk to some of the students afterwards and to hear them talk about their teachers and how amazing they are and how awesome and how they make learning fun. And yet they have high expectations for them and they're motivated by the things that are being brought to their attention on a regular basis. It was so cool to hear. And all I wanted to do was just shout from the rooftops how lucky we are to have the amazing educators that we have in our district, because that's what it's about. When the kids walk away saying, I learned something today because my teacher is awesome. I mean, that's a big deal. So,
that's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think that would sum up kind of what I think it comes down to, those strong relationships, loving the subject, making it fun, having high expectations, and just trying to connect with our students and making the experience an overall great one.
Yeah. And I think you see so many of our educators just going above and beyond with their students first and foremost. So many of them are going to the games, they're checking in on them after school, but then they're still learning themselves. Like you said, they're lifelong learners, and you see them taking extra classes and extra training sessions to find out ways that they can improve on their already stellar classroom etiquette.
Yeah, absolutely. We were actually just talking about this before I came down here to record this podcast, and we were discussing all the professional development that we provide in our district. And it's amazing how often we receive feedback from those teachers or educators in general that have left our district. And the number one thing that they always talk about was how impressed they were with the amount of supports that they've been provided over the years and or the professional development that's in place. And we have amazing educators that are looking for ways to provide the best learning possible. And then we have those learners, if you will, the teachers that are striving to better their practice as well. And so it's a nice combination that leads to tremendous success. And we've seen that in our data as a district. And we'll only see that data continue to improve as time goes on.
Yeah. And I think that's felt all the way through, even down to the support staff, because Canyons has it in place where if you want to become a teacher and you work for Canyons, the district will help make that
Absolutely.
happen.
Yep. We are committed to that for sure.
And our schools can't operate without that support staff, right? We have our custodians, your lunchroom workers, your office staff, plumbers, electricians, the list goes on. They say it takes a village, and it's a cliche for a reason. What do you want those employees, that support staff, to know as you start your superintendency?
That's something that I actually said in my acceptance speech, if you will. I hate that word. Thank you. Remarks. I like the remarks word far better than speech. when I was with the board on Thursday night, I believe it was.
Yep.
The biggest thing that I would love our support staff to take away is that they are seen, they are heard, and they are greatly valued. If you think about it, you had mentioned it takes a village. Education is a lot bigger than what just takes place in the classroom, if you will. We have to provide clean and safe spaces. We have to transport our kids to and from school safely. We have to provide healthy meals. And all of that comes from our support staff. Education in general is a somewhat thankless job. And oftentimes our support staff is even more of a thankless job. And I only say that largely due to the fact that when we're talking about school over the dinner table, how was your day at school? It's oftentimes, oh, I learned this in my classroom, or I, had this discussion with my teacher. And yet we forget about that learning environment and how safe that learning environment was and is largely due to the support staff that did their work behind the scenes, if you will. And so that's why I say, although it can be at times thankless or unseen, they truly are seen, appreciated, and valued in every way. And I can't thank them enough. We used to joke when I was going through my education program, my undergrad, that the two people that you needed to focus on the most was the secretary and the custodian.
Yep.
And they basically run the school.
They do.
And I used to kind of wonder what that was all about. And you quickly learn that without their support, it makes the job that much more difficult. And they are amazing individuals. And so we're very fortunate to have the people that we have, even as the weather changes. Sometimes our buildings are getting warm or they're getting cool, too soon, whatever.
It's summer in March. We're fine. Everything's fine.
Without all of those individuals, we just wouldn't be able to provide the education that we are able to provide. And so it's a huge shout out to every one of them for sure.
And again, I think they resonate in the end with students. I mean, I remember in my high school, I remember both of our custodians. They were both amazing people. They were both so nice. One of them was always very friendly, checking in. How are you doing? And the other one was the one who'd give us a high five and then, give us a hard time. Now get to class, get to work. But they were always there for the students. And you could tell that they had that joy of being in that environment.
Well, and that goes right back to the connections that you were talking about, right? Those can be formed not just in the classroom. And so they're huge. And the more that we do it, the better off everyone will be.
Yeah. You mentioned when you made your remarks to the board on Thursday, you also told them that this is not a time of disruption, that we're building on a strong foundation. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, it really just comes down to that very point, the fact that we have a very strong foundation. We've been very successful in so many different areas. We have a wonderful school board that has put together a strategic plan with the help of the community and educators alike, and it's guiding us and it's directing us. And why deviate from something that has helped us to be successful? And so I think, especially over these next few months and this first part of the next school year, I think we really need to just focus on what we're good at and enhancing that and building upon that strong foundation. There are obviously opportunities to build upon that and to look for ways to adjust, especially with the ever-changing world in which we live. But those moments will come and we will adjust accordingly, and we'll continue to look for ways to improve. But it really just comes down to, if we continue to focus on kids and they are our foundation, it's really hard to go wrong. It really is. I think decisions that will be made that are focused on kids will lead to good decisions that will impact the lives of our students, that will help them be prepared for their futures. And we have been doing that. And why would I want to disrupt that?
Yeah.
And so it's just about building upon that foundation and looking for ways to improve and then tackling them as they come.
So what are you looking forward to most as you step into your new role in the summer?
Ooh. I think probably just continuing to work with the exceptional educators and employees of our district. I know that we have the best educators in the state of Utah, and I love rubbing shoulders with them. I love working with them. I love problem solving with them. And when I say educators, I am lumping everyone into that because I think we're all educators in some way, shape, or form. And so whether it's the title as a support staff or a teacher or a director or an assistant superintendent, whatever the case may be, we are all working together for the betterment of our students. And that's the part that I continue to look forward to, of sitting down with them, talking with them, discovering what we might be able to tweak or change or modify, or how do we best prepare for this upcoming school year. Fortunately, a lot of that has already been done in my previous role. And that's another reason why it was easy to say that it's not about disrupting, or deviating, if you will, from what we're already doing. But I just look forward to continuing to learn from them and looking for solutions to some of the complex problems that we're facing currently and or will be facing. Like we said, it's an ever-changing world and we never know what's going to be happening. And we just have to be flexible and ready to adjust accordingly.
Absolutely. Well, and I can tell you immediately after the announcement, we heard so much feedback from the Canyons community, both the Canyons team and parents alike, who know who you are and the work that you've done and have shared their excitement for the potential that you have in this role. So no pressure there.
Well, I'm the lucky one, to say the least. And like I said, I've benefited tremendously from the work that is done every single day inside our schools. And they are amazing individuals that I can't thank enough for their support. And I hope they feel the support from me from now until, as long as I'm around. I hope they feel loved and appreciated and respected. And we'll get through this together.
I can't say thank you enough for taking the time to sit down and chat with us. We know you are quite busy right now as you prepare to step into this new role, but, it sounds like education's in your blood and you've taken it to heart and run with it. And we can't wait to see what you do with the very next chapter.
Well, thank you. The pleasure's been all mine, and you are correct. Education is very much my life, and I love everything about it. And I just hope to instill that same type of love and passion into the students that we serve every single day. And not that I expect them all to become teachers, but hey, if they choose, it's a great career. So thanks again for the opportunity. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for listening. If there's a topic you'd like to hear discussed on the podcast, send us an email to communications@canyonsdistrict.org.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Connect Canyons. Connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram @Canyons District, or on our website, canyonsdistrict.org.